All right, welcome back to Otulini Cuisine. This is on the night of Taco Tuesday. It's called One Pan Taco Tuesday. When you're doing tacos, you obviously are all going to start with a little something. A little something might be beer. This beer happens to be a little something. Now, you guys got to know when you're down in Mexico and you're cooking and you're out on the beach or you're doing something crazy, you don't always have the proper utensils to do something. But if you've got a spoon and if you've got a beer, I want you all to learn how to do this. Very simple. Most of you know how to do this. But if you don't, even with just a spoon, boom, you've got yourself a beer. So let's just all remember, there's simplicity here. You don't need all the right stuff. I usually don't have the right stuff, but we can prepare it anyway. 40 days of Lent with no beer, that tastes pretty darn good. So we're going to start off a little bit with the concept of fajitas. The basic fajitas I learned recently, well not recently, but I've always thought they need something more. Fajitas are bell peppers, onions, and some meat. How cute. Throw some sauce on it. Now, God, I'm not against the Mexican restaurants that serve it that way because they're serving kind of to the American palate. But I just decided probably 5 years ago that I needed something more in my fajitas. Maybe one of the best dishes on any menu because it's just got all the goodness and not all the fluff. And then you deal with it how you want to with tortillas and salsa and whatever you want to put on it. So what I decided when I go to Mexican restaurants now and I order fajitas, I say, could you do the fajitas with just onions and jalapenos? Just that. No bell peppers, no nothing. Well, they are okay with doing that because they got piles of jalapenos, and my God, every single bite of those fajitas is absolutely fun. So what I do with fajitas is I just go to the store and buy every kind of pepper I can find there. Maybe a little bit of bell pepper, but then every other pepper. So what we've got here, if we can see, first, not a pepper, but cactus, nopales. I always get the nopales because this is like the Mexican bell pepper, but better. And if you're doing it this way, you can just slice it into long pieces like this, which is I've done over here. I've outlined the entire pan with my cactus. Why not? In between the meat, in between the chicken, in between the pork, in between the vegetables, we've got cactus. Another thing that people need to learn is we've got all the peppers. We've got jalapenos, we've got the little bell pepper, we got the guaritos. You know what? As long as we're talking about guaritos, have you ever gotten guaritos in Palm Springs? It's like the Palm Springs pepper. And what it was designed from was when the Chinese were working on the railroad coming through Palm Springs, they got together with the Mexican population there. Oh, thank you. My cameraman just handed me a beer. Now that's talent. So somehow they got together and created this blend of this unique dish that's a true Mexican-Chinese blend. But it's called the guaritos. And if you go down to Palm Springs and go to any of the good Mexican restaurants, you'll find guaritos everywhere. It's made with this pepper. Typically what they'll do is they'll slice this thing open and they'll get it open and get all the seeds out. And then they'll stuff this thing with a shrimp and cheese mixture and either fry it or bake it. And that comes out to your table with this crazy sauce, always served with soy sauce. Who would get soy sauce in a Mexican restaurant? But with the guaritos, the Chinese were there, they got it in there, an unbelievable deal. An unbelievable dish. You go to Palm Springs, if you don't eat guaritos, you haven't been to Palm Springs. Palm Desert has a couple of them that are very classic that you want to go to. I think it's called Mexicali 1 and Mexicali 2 or Mexicali Cafe, something. But anyway, when you're cutting a pepper, let's just talk about that just for 1 second. You're going to cut your pepper in half. You want to get the pith out. And you want to get the seeds out. And then you can go with your slice and slice and slice. And so now you've got this sliced up pepper, your pith can come out a little bit more, and you've got a pepper. You can do that with all your peppers. We've got nopales, which is the cactus, jalapeno, the guarito, the Anaheim, and the pasilla. All of these peppers are going to add unbelievable flavor to this entire dish. So let's come over here to the dish for a second. So what I've done is I've cut up onions, red onions and brown onions and tomatoes and all of those peppers that I just went through, and I made a spice with that, for that, a kind of a Mexican taco spice, which is basically cumin, chili powder, cayenne, garlic, onion, mixed all together, a little bit of olive oil, and tossed all of that with it. Then I've got a marinated chicken that's marinated with very similar spices. I've got some steak cubes that I had in the refrigerator that I marinated in a chili verde for probably 6 or 7 hours. Put those in there. And then the El Pastor. El Pastor, what is that? That's pork. Where does that come from? It actually was really interesting. It was a Lebanese migration to Mexico where they brought their concept of the shawarma, basically, where they piled the pork all up, they put a pineapple on top, they roasted it with Mexican spices, and they sliced that off. So that's not originally from Mexican. It's Lebanese, Mexican, learning to adapt and using that. So whenever you go to a taco shop, get the El Pastor, because that's the most unique meat that they have on the menu, unless you're going there for the cabeza and the tongue and the things like that. So anyway, what we're doing is I sliced up some avocados. Growing up, my dad always had sliced avocados. My mom would slice them up, she'd put them in a line, she'd sprinkle them with a little bit of salt, and my dad would sit in front of the TV after a long day of work and eat those. So for me, I've always been going down the line of the avocado with the salt. So what we've got now is this entire one pan taco. We're going to be doing these tortillas. We'll roll them up and get them heated up. We've got flour and corn. Those will come out with it. We've got rice, which is well, let's get this in the oven. So anyway, I've got this set at 425. We're going to put this whole thing in here, and this is going to be about a 25-minute ride on this beautiful pan of tacos. When that comes out, come on, it's going to be absolutely ridiculous. The best fajitas you've ever tasted. Flavor in every single bite without just the boring bell pepper and onion. We've got every other chili in there. This rice, very sweet, classic Mexican rice. Sauteed onions, a little bit of olive oil. Cook the rice in that oil, and so it fries up a little bit and gets a little bit of brown. Dump a can of rotelli in it, which is a great little Mexican tomatoes with got chilies already in it. Put a couple of slices of jalapeno in there to add to the flavor. Let that cook for 20 minutes, and you've got some damn good Mexican rice. So that's in the oven. You've seen peppers. You've seen me drinking beer. You've seen Cactus getting sliced. I'm just going to do one little segue into something that I think is real important. People build $1 million kitchens. They have $1 million stoves. They've got it where it'll have a timer on it. It'll go off. It'll simmer. It'll do all that. What do I got? And what can you do with just a basic stove? Here's what I got. Look down here. Film that that's a Viking. You know what I call this? I call this it's an analogy to the American muscle car. This is American muscle. What does it do? It's got 4 burners, just like when you look at that flame, you can't even get your hand anywhere near that, because that's like a 4-barrel carb American muscle car. That's what it does. It doesn't have a small burner here and a big burner there and a simmer burner here. It's got 4 carburetors full of 4 barrels full of power, like an American muscle car. That's what it does. It heats, and that's what it was made for. It's got the big Holley transmission down below that you just fire down in here, and you've got a big old hot oven ready to go. This is all you need. You don't need more than this. You could do less than this. But this, I consider American muscle. So have your big kitchen, but if you don't, be really happy with having a big fat burner and something that's going to make something really hot that's going to cook just the way you want it, and you've got yourself a great meal. So here we are, Ottolini Cuisine, doing a 1-pan taco plate. It's going to turn into a taco plate, but it's one, what do they call it? A sheet pan. It's one giant sheet pan taco plate. Cold beer, lots of peppers, American muscle stove, beautiful Mexican rice. Arrivederci. Ciao.